2023 when a federal judge in Georgia, Judge Thomas W. Thrash, refused to issue an injunction that would have barred the Atlanta-based Fearless Fund from issuing grants to early-stage African-American and women of color business owners. You've seen us talk about this on Roland Martin Unfiltered. We actually interviewed the founders of the Fearless Fund, African-American entrepreneurs Arian, Simone, Ayana Parsons, and Keisha Pullam, who we know from the Cosby Show and House of Payne. So this Fearless Fund organization was sued by white conservative activist Ed Blum. Now, Ed Blum is the same conservative activist who filed the lawsuit challenging affirmative action when it comes to college admissions, and we know a 6-3 conservative Supreme Court struck down affirmative action in college admissions. So in August of 2023, a group run by conservative activist Ed Blum, whose lawsuit prompted the Supreme Court to strike down the use of racial preferences in college admissions, sued Fearless Fund, alleging it engaged in, quote, explicit racial exclusion, end quote, by operating a grant program, quote, open only to black females, end quote. Well, this was straight up BS. When I spoke with the founders of the Fearless Fund on Roland Martin Unfiltered, I asked them the question, well, in the lawsuit, Ed Blum says that you only give the grants to black women business owners, but you stated that the grants are for business owners who are women of color. They said that's absolutely true. So it's not only for black women business owners. So in the lawsuit, what Ed Blum was stating was false. Now, this whole type of lawsuit is designed to scare the corporations who have partnered with the Fearless Fund, and we have seen an attack from conservatives when it comes to diversity, equity, and inclusion. Now, this lawsuit claims that the Fearless Fund practice of awarding grants of $20,000 support services and mentorship to businesses owned by black women violates a section of the Civil Rights Act of 1866 that guarantees, quote unquote, race neutrality in contracts. So what conservatives are doing is trying to use the Civil Rights Act of 1866, which granted rights to newly freed African American slaves, former slaves, and it allowed them to enter into contracts. It allowed them to negotiate wages, etc. They're trying to use this against African Americans today. U.S. District Judge Thomas W. Thrash, in his ruling, he ruled that the Fearless Fund grant program qualifies as charitable giving, which is a form of protected speech under what? The First Amendment. Under the First Amendment, now this goes to the U.S. Constitution, the Bill of Rights, 1791. This is why I tell everybody we have to read and understand the U.S. Constitution. Judge Thrash, who was appointed by President Bill Clinton, is expected to file an opinion in the case later this week. Now, the mission of the Fearless Fund is to help even out the racial imbalance in venture capital funds in the United States. In 2022, only 1.1% of the $214 billion, billion with the B, in venture capital funding allocated went to companies with African American founders. This is according to data from Crunchbase. So my question would be, is Ed Blum now going to file a lawsuit against venture capitalist companies on behalf of African Americans, with 13.5% of the population, but 1.1% of those getting the venture capital money? To fight this lawsuit, the Fearless Fund lined up a heavyweight defense team with expertise in civil rights, including the NAACP Legal Defense Fund, Gibson, Dunn, and Crutcher, and attorney Benjamin Crump, the attorney who represented the families of George Floyd and Tyree Nichols in their civil lawsuits over these African American men's killings at the hand of police. Read the rest of this article from the Washington Post. Judge allows grant program for black female entrepreneurs to continue from September 26, 2023. Follow me. I'm Michael Imhotep, founder of the African History Network, host of the African History Network show. Visit our website, theafricanhistorynetwork.com, theafricanhistorynetwork.com. And follow me on Instagram, Michael Imhotep, Imhotep. Follow me on my Facebook fan page, the African History Network, where we have 1 million followers. And be sure to register for my 12-week online history courses, where we deal with thousands of years of history and what leads up to the transatlantic slave trade taking place. Remember, right now, let's correct your own behaviors, not over till we win. Wakanda forever. And we'll talk to you next time. Peace.